The radical leftists in Michigan, in particular, were begging Democrats in the state to vote against Joe Biden in that primary. Let's bring in former Michigan candidate for governor and host of the Tudor Dixon podcast. Tudor Dixon, great to see you. Always great to have you back on RAV. Tudor, first, your reaction to Trump's big win last night in that primary.
Well, it was certainly expected that he would win. I think after Iowa, we knew that he was going to be the nominee. We knew what was happening in not only the state of Michigan, but the entire country. I think the big news out of Michigan last night, though, was I would say a loss for Joe Biden. Having over 100,000 folks come out and say they're uncommitted, and we know why they are uncommitted. There was a big campaign, and this was kind of a dueling campaign between Rashida Tlaib and Gretchen Whitmer. And Gretchen Whitmer went on the media circuit over the weekend. She was confident she's going to deliver the state for Joe Biden, that she was going to squash this whole idea of the uncommitted vote. She was posting videos of herself, as she loves to do, on social media, showing that she was banking the vote, that she was out there phone banking. She was getting people to stop this uncommitted vote. But she failed at that because there was a massive number of uncommitted folks that came out. Rashida Tlaib is still saying she doesn't want people to vote for Joe Biden. Rashida Tlaib is not the kind of person that the party comes to her and says, hey, get in line. And she's like, yeah, no problem. I've got this. She's not going to go away. And she is a problem for Gretchen Whitmer, who is a co-chair of the Biden campaign. But also, I like to say, if you look at the two campaigns, the Trump campaign and the Biden campaign, Trump has surrogates. He has people that are going out there and they're talking about him. They're explaining what they know about Donald Trump. Joe Biden has vultures. Those are people that are just circling, waiting for something to happen to Joe Biden. And they're like, okay, now it's my turn. Gretchen Whitmer is a top vulture right now. She's like, this is my opportunity to prove to the Democrats I'm the leader they need. And last night was a disaster for her. There was nothing more disastrous than proving that she could have a turnover like that for uncommitted that would hand the state to Donald Trump. And it looks really good for November for Donald Trump in Michigan.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Tudor, obviously. And by the way, with Rashida Tlaib, from the river to the sea, not a great campaign slogan, FYI, in America today. But let's talk about Gretchen Whitmer. You've mentioned her a few times. Look, as we're talking about Joe Biden, whether or not he'll be the nominee in 2024, this is a real conversation now, especially after the special counsel report. We've heard her name a little bit bandied about. I know a lot of people talk about Gavin Newsom and others. You know Gretchen Whitmer is chomping at the bit somehow. And you would think that Democrats might think, hey, if we run on the abortion issue, Gretchen Whitmer may be the vehicle to do that. Could you see that happening? Or do you think she wants to have that happen? What's your view on that?
I don't think there's any question that Governor Uterus wants to run on the abortion ticket for president. I mean, that's her thing, right? She's out there every day like, I'm fighting like hell to make sure that you can have abortion. And the extreme that we have in Michigan now is the most extreme it can be, but it's effective. And so that's where Republicans really need to step back and say, this is a big warning sign. Across the country, abortion is going to be on the ballot. People will choose abortion. Our candidates need to make sure that they are fighting on the issues that are going to matter, that they don't get to choose. The people will choose that. Our candidates need to be running on the border. They need to be running on the economy. They need to be running against some of these crazy things that people like Governor Whitmer are doing in the state of Michigan, where she's now passed a bill that says we're going to be 100% renewable energy by 2040, 50 by 2030. And we're only at 12% right now, and we're currently experiencing blackouts in the state of Michigan as we speak from a storm last night. This is also someone who's gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars from the energy companies in the state. This needs to be exposed. And yes, I think that she definitely wants to be. In fact, someone overheard her at a DNC meeting in December saying she was going to blow past Gavin Newsom and thump Trump to be president in 2024. So I know it's not on her radar. It's her plan.
Tudor, I think my IFB went out. I want to confirm you called her Governor Uterus, right? I heard that correctly? That's the line of the day. I'm just going to put it out there. You win the award for line of the day, but we will move on past that. So Nikki Haley, of course, she appeared on CNN last night and made an excuse for her poor performance. Let's listen to that, and then I'd like you to respond on the other end.
I was, in Minnesota this morning. I was in Colorado this afternoon. I'm now in Utah. I mean, that's the goal, is to try and hit as many Super Tuesday states as we can. But look, Donald Trump campaigned in Michigan for 8 years. I campaigned for 2 days. So our goal has been to try and reach as many people as we can, but we know he's got the advantage in that.
Tudor, you are on the clock. 30 seconds, your response.
We've seen Donald Trump out there campaigning across the country. We've seen Nikki Haley. We've seen Ron DeSantis. We've seen the other folks. She's at the moment now where the donors are starting to say, okay, the writing's on the wall. We're going to pull away. We saw this happen with Ron DeSantis. It's a matter of time. And then I hope that when that happens, Nikki Haley will come out and endorse Donald Trump, and we'll have that unity we want and we need.
Tudor, what's your assessment of the battle for the Michigan State GOP chairmanship there between Karamo and Hoekstra? It's really confusing for our viewers. If you can just break it down.
Well, actually, there was a ruling last night, a court ruling last night. So the RNC has ruled, and now the court has ruled that it is Pete Hoekstra. He will be the chair of the Michigan Republican Party. I believe Christina said she's not going to go against the court ruling. So it looks like, just for your viewers out there, there was a question as to whether or not the caucus would be held in Detroit this weekend or Grand Rapids. After the judge's ruling yesterday, I would head to Grand Rapids. That's where the delegates will be awarded to the president. So make sure you get to the right convention out there. The judge has ruled on this issue.
Tudor, before you get going, less than a minute left, how confident are you on the election integrity issues as it relates to Michigan coming up in 2024? What can you tell folks there to have some confidence or to be concerned about not enough changes being made?
Well, you have to understand that there have been changes made by the proposal that was on the ballot last year. There have been changes made by the Secretary of State. So for me, it's very important that people understand. We do have early voting in some counties. We do have absentee ballots that are increasing every day on the Democrat side. Folks who are afraid of that understand that we've always had big absentee numbers in the state of Michigan. It had been for Republicans in the past. So make sure you're getting out there and chasing those ballots. We've got a great ground game. We are increasing that ground game every day. We're going to have people at those polling places. I feel confident about Michigan in 2024. I just want to make sure that when we have our teams out on the ground, that they are okay and they understand that when we are going out there to grab those absentee ballots and make sure people are bringing their ballots back and putting them into those drop boxes themselves, that is going to count and those votes are important. So make sure you are pushing those folks who get their absentee ballots for those people to get them back.
Tudor Dixon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.